in a Taurus lunation cycle. So Taurus as an archetype, it's the second of the 12 zodiac signs. And Taurus is about life affirming simplicity. So when we get into Taurus, we're really talking about the pleasure of our body. The body in relation with other bodies and in relation with the earth. So Taurus is a fixed sign. You think back to Aries season. Aries is cardinal fire. And this is where I think of protection and fighting. Like, what are you fighting for? What is your cause? And it's igniting, because cardinal signs ignite. It gets something going. It starts something new. And with Aries, it has a youthful vigor to it. When we get to Taurus, now there's a maintenance. There is a fixed quality with Taurus, which says, okay, now rest in what we have initiated in Aries. It's giving us this stability because we've created the stability. Now in Taurus season, we rest, we take a deep exhale, we enjoy the pleasure and comfort of everything that we've created. Taurus is fixed earth in the form of the earthly delights. So in Taurus season, look around. All the flowers are blooming. There are little buds coming up on my papaya tree they're going to soon be papayas. And there's a lot of bees around. There's a lot of warmth getting generated. It's not too hot yet. And the warmth is it's sustaining warmth. It's easy to go outside in your spring weather, your spring weather clothing. So Taurus is going to be about the simplicity. Let's look at the opposite sign, because we can never talk about any sign in totality without looking at what the polar or resonant polarity is. So for Taurus, the resonant polarity is Scorpio. Taurus season is about life affirming practices, the simplicity of enjoying taking a deep breath, the simplicity of our natural health and natural beauty. And then when we get to Scorpio, it is a complexity. It is how deep we can get into something. In Taurus, it's very simple. It's the intuition that is obvious, a lot of times, because I have so many planets in Pisces, I am really feeling into the metaphysical. And with Taurus, it's like, but what is right here? Like, what is it, the exact thing that's actually right here? And so Taurus intuition is very much, this is an example, it's hot. I can feel that it's hot. The Scorpio side would be the complexity of the psychology of what does it mean. Whereas in Taurus, it's very simple. It's just like, oh, it means that I need to open a window. Whereas Scorpio is going to be like going into all these like psychological depth analysis. So you can see the polarity there. And I mentioned my own self, because this is something that I have Taurus rising. So I'm constantly like, but what is the very simple, obvious thing? And it's so easy for me to overlook that, because I'm so much into the metaphysical, the spirits, what the dream, so much a different layer of reality. So in Taurus, we are really getting into what is our body saying and what is the earth saying. So there's so much, oh my gosh, I've been creating this program called The Discipline of Self-Love. It's a Saturn in Pisces kind of thing. And as I'm researching, I got really interested on one part of it, which is the melatonin component of the light and dark cycle, and how when the sun rises, there's more testosterone and cortisol being released. And then when the sun goes down, there's more melatonin being released. And so I am like, okay, so how, like wanting to know every little detail of how that works and why it works. And then what I keep coming back to is the simplicity of the fact of just look outside, look at what's happening in nature. And there's that Albert Einstein quote where he said something about, if you want to know anything, study nature. So I don't remember the exact quote, but basically it's like, yes, the sun rises. That's when the birds start chirping and life starts happening. And then when the sun sets, it gets quiet, it gets dark, and there is a rhythm. And our bodies, if we were to take ourselves out of the city and go into a situation with maybe there's not electricity, I did live in this situation before. We had spotty electricity. Sometimes electricity would be on, sometimes it wouldn't. And health is so much better. And it's something so simple. But if we don't fight what is naturally happening, our bodies will thrive so much better. So that's Taurus. It's like, what is so simple and basic that it's just right. And there's no need to really dive so deep into it. Although, why not? Because Scorpio, why not dive into it and find out all the complexity? Because this polarity needs each other. So we can't really have one in wholeness without the other. So now let's look at, okay, so that's Taurus. The new moon is the part of the moon cycle where we are completing the previous. The previous moon cycle was in Aries. That was the lunation month of Aries. And now we are moving into Taurus. So the new moon, now tonight, we won't see any moon. It'll be just a black sky with a lot of stars. And this is telling us that the previous cycle is complete and we're not yet into what is possible for the new cycle. We're in the loving darkness, the pregnant void of possibilities. So this is the time where we allow ourselves to feel into our inner mystery. Not necessarily time to start setting new intentions. It's time to reflect upon everything that we tried, everything that we set out to do during the Aries lunation, what took, what didn't take. And when I say take, I mean like what stuck. Of the things that you tried, what stuck and what didn't stick, and what do you want to try again? Or maybe try in a different way, and what would you like to compost and leave it behind? Taurus, the simplicity of pure, clean water. Okay, and then we get into Scorpio, and it's like the complexity of the Kangen water with all the special things that the Kangen water is about. Okay, so let's go ahead. Oh, and I mentioned this. So we're going to have the sun meeting up with Uranus. Now, remember this. We just went through a Uranus-Jupiter conjunction that happened on I think it was April 23rd, April 22nd, or maybe it was April 20th. It was somewhere around there, April 20th. That's so funny because previous to that conjunction, I had the date stuck in my head. I think it was the same date as the Bitcoin halving. So yeah, it must have been April 20th. So we had that conjunction, which set us up for a 14-year cycle, because Uranus is going to take about 14 years in each sign. And so we think back to what Uranus has been doing in the Taurus area of our life. Uranus is about, it's not so much about you and your unique individuality as much as it is about what your unique individuality is for the collective. So it's like there's something that only you can bring. There's something that only you can do. And this is speaking in terms of something that is going to be elevating, evolving, helping humanity, because Uranus as an archetype is meant to uplift humanity and to perfect something, to make something better, almost too good to be true. It's like really wants to evolve humanity. And when you think about evolution of humanity, we can sometimes look at pushing the limits of what was before considered possible. That's what Uranus is about. So Uranus on your chart is showing it's actually helping to build something within you that is going to assist humanity in evolution. So it may not be something that you like necessarily. That's what I'm getting at. It's like a lot of people will talk about Uranus like, oh, your authentic individual self. But it's not so much about the self as much as it is about what humanity needs from you. Like, what is it that humanity really needs right now that only you can do? And so Uranus has been in the sign of Taurus since 2018. Then when we had this conjunction between Uranus and Jupiter on April 20th, something was really made bigger, made more fertile. So there's like a fertility aspect to this, whereas you think about fertility like fertilizing the soil. I can give an example from my soil, the soil where I live. That soil was completely dust, and I did a lot of work to fertilize that soil. I won't talk about the specifics of what I did right now, but let me know if you want to know. Put it in the comments if you want to know what I did to make my to bring more fertility to the soil around where I live. There was nothing. It was dust. And today, right now, there are about 56 trees, and they're not all going to grow because it's a very small space. But the point is that the soil is so fertile that any seed lands in it and it will grow. And so that fertility aspect of Jupiter meeting up with Uranus is like bringing this massive fertility to what has been brewing in Uranus in the Taurus area of your chart. Okay, so this is really important. And especially if you're somebody who really feels the passion of wanting to help humanity. And not everybody does, and that is totally fine. But if you are somebody who feels like that, this timing is really, really important to pay attention to. And when I say pay attention, it's like, what can I say yes to in this area of my life when opportunities are coming up, and even just somebody asking you, hey, would you give a talk at this thing? Just say yes. What can you lose? Because saying yes, it might, the talk that you do might not be the thing, but it might be the thing that got you in front of a group of people, and you met somebody, and then this happened, and then this, you know what I mean? There's like an unfolding that you have to say yes to the first step. Saying yes is the first step a lot of times. Okay, so we're going to have Sun meeting up with Uranus, which is going to really illuminate what's happening right here in your chart. And this will happen every year. Once a year, the Sun and Uranus will meet in a conjunction. A conjunction, that's when two planets meet at the same degree point. This is like a death and rebirth, just like the new moon. When they come together, something is ending and something is beginning. So while that, okay, you got invited to do a talk at that thing, you do the talk, and you get picked up for this actually happened to me one time. They asked me to come be at their retreat center and do relationship astrology counseling for the new people getting married. Okay, so if I had said yes to that, that would have been the end of my holistic health practice that I have based in San Diego, where I see people in person. So there's an ending to something in order for there to be a beginning in something else. And that's what happens when there's a conjunction. And it might not be so grandiose. So don't be looking for, I met the love of my life, or I got this amazing job opportunities, because it's a lot of times when the thing happens in astrology and you're like, well, nothing happened. Well, did you have a good day? Did you make a better health choice? Did you go to sleep on time? Like, there's a lot of things, especially with Uranus in Taurus, and Jupiter in Taurus, and Venus in Taurus, and the sun in Taurus, and the moon in Taurus. It can be simple, and just let it be simple sometimes, like you woke up, we're doing in the discipline of self-love. It's a free 7-day course that is meant to get us into a healthy habit of waking up, seeing the sun first thing in the morning to increase the testosterone and cortisol that naturally occurs in our body. It can increase up to 50% just by you going outside and looking at the sun, taking a little walk. There's some morning cleanses that I'm sharing with people that come from Ayurveda. And so maybe you just did one of those things and you felt better, which got you to smile more when you were at the grocery store, which got you to make a new friend. So it can be simple. And with Taurus, it probably is going to be simple. And then we just allow the things to unfold. Okay, and then the sun is going to meet up with Jupiter. And that's going to be, I believe that's happening later on the 15th or the 18th of May. That we have the Sun Jupiter conjunction. So it's coming up in, I think it's like the next 13 days, something like that. So that, again, it's an ending of one thing, a beginning of a new thing. And this happens every once a year. With Jupiter, it's going to be about fertility, abundance, our intelligence, our wisdom. I would think back to the last time, let's think about this, when Jupiter was last in Taurus. It was 2011, 2012. What were you doing in 2011, 2012? Jupiter is known as the year sign. It's actually where we get the Chinese signs, like cat, tiger, rat, all those. It comes from the Jupiter being the year star. So think back to what was going on in your life at that time in respect to the Jupiter topics, which has to do with, like I said, fertility, wisdom, traveling abroad. And the wisdom is wisdom gained through your philosophy pursuits, through studying, through religious studies. So it's like the big, long studies, higher education. So what was going on? For me, I was in nutrition school. I was studying at the Holistic School of Healing Arts in San Diego, doing a nutrition program. I met the person I would have a child with, and I had that baby 2013. I was pregnant in 2012. So of course, for me, it's Jupiter is my first house. So I'm thinking like, okay, I can see that pattern. And I also had to change some things with my work at that time. So first house things. So let's go ahead and start off with Taurus rising, since I'm talking about the first house. And I'm going to pull a card for everybody and give a little reading about how the Taurus lunation can be impacting your life and some ideas about how to work with it. So Taurus, your new moon is going to be in the first house, a new beginning into your self, health. So first house has to do with your body, your health, your outlook on life. The first house is the helmsman, the steerer it steers the ship. Oh, I guess that's the card for Taurus. Lavender. So, oh my gosh. So I get this card, lavender. It says the weaver. So lavender, you can see she's got a baby on her back. Oh, great. And what is that? A rock next to her foot? A big rock. And it says there's Mercury is the planet for this. You can see the spirits up there. It's like an angel playing music, and then this other angel giving some energy. So what I'm really seeing with this card has something to do actually with some of the Scorpio aspects of working with the spirits, the ancestors. There's this spider web, which is very scorpionic. And then we have the flowers, which is completely a Taurus thing. So the beauty, the pleasure, the calm. Look at how peaceful she looks. And with that communication aspect with Mercury, it's like being able to tune in to that deeper level of communication of the ancestors and spider medicine. Being able to tune in with that and bring that through in a peaceful, harmonious, and you see she's playing a little harp there. Bring that through in a way that you maybe don't even need to talk. You just are being that peaceful presence in the earth, graceful, beautiful. The smell of lavender is definitely going to be coming with me for the lunation cycle. And yeah, so let's move on to, let me look at what the card said there. Okay, weaver of potential, new beginnings, intuitive intellect, contemplative phase, emotional fulfillment, walking in alignment. So Taurus rising in your first house, also just be thinking about how your perspective or your perception of yourself is ready to be changed. Maybe you're going to be, there's so much planetary happenings in the first house for you. Fertility, if you're not wanting to conceive a child, thwart that fertility energy into the earth where you live. This is an actual thing, part of how I got my soil to be so magnificently fertile was a prayer, a constant prayer and ritual asking for my fertility, my very rich, overactive fertility of conception to be utilized in the soil where I live. And you can also use your fertility power to work on a project, like put that energy toward a project. If you don't want to get pregnant, also please follow the taking charge of your fertility. It's her name is Tony, taking charge of your fertility. Tony somebody, I can't remember her name anymore. But there is a really good amount of work that you can do that's not hard. It's very simple. It just requires you to pay attention to your cycle and pay attention to your body signs and symptoms so you can track your fertility and know when to and when not to do the things that would cause conception. So fertility, unprecedented change is to be expected, especially during this lunation cycle with the sun coming up to Uranus. So be open to doing things that maybe you're not at first like super into it, but it's helpful for humanity. It's helpful for the greater good. When I was in the Navy, we had a lot of triage. We were triaging all the time. So it's like, what is the best possible thing I can do that's going to help the most amount of people? And definitely, this is not like a martyrdom thing to like put yourself aside. Absolutely not. In Taurus, it's like, it does also feel good. It brings you pleasure. It could also bring wealth and prosperity, being in the sign of Taurus. Okay, so let's move on to Taurus. Gemini. Gemini is going to be having this new moon in the 12th house. 12th house has to do with your dreams, your visions, this spirits, and this is also when you don't pay attention to your dreams and your visions and your spirits, the spirits around you. This can lead to self-undoing, where we're doing toxic things to either escape reality or to connect deeper with the spirit realm. And a new moon in the 12th house, it might not even be noticeable. That's something about the 12th house. Sometimes you don't even notice that there's something happening there unless we put extra emphasis in it. This likely could be bringing a new vision. Pay attention to your dreams. I mean, this channel is called Awaken the Dream, and I am very pro pay attention to your dreams all the time, because you can really get good information about your health, your relationships, about a book you're writing. There's just all the information is there, and it's more easily accessible through the dream time if you're able to stay aware enough during the dreams. So pay attention to your dreams. Do some journaling, autonomic writing, like getting in touch with that spirit realm during this time. And the card I pull for you is Sage, and I love this. You can see it says Moon and Jupiter, so this is the energy that this card is about. So with Moon and Jupiter, we instantly think about nighttime, and we think about spirituality. And then you can see these beings don't look very embodied. It's like the spirits themselves burning the sage and sending their prayers off into, I almost want to say it's like sending it up into the moon, sending it up into the mountains, sending it up. And there's a spiraling that's happening. So Sage, the card, the name is Blessings. So we know that Sage is... Oh, look at the flowers too. I just want to mention, because the flowers, this is a spring thing. The flowering is related to Taurus. So what I'm getting from this card is that really speak your prayer. Tell what your prayer is. Set your invocation or your intention out loud. Work with sage, obviously. Work with sage. If you don't have sage around you, there's other plants that are like sage. I sell sage at my store, Ojas. We have a lot of sage over here. Definitely work with sage and speak your prayers out loud. And listen for the answer somewhere within the dream time. Oh, you know what else I'm noticing here is this mountain having a face on it. So probably also you're going to want to connect with the mountains. Okay, so let's go on. Have fun. Good luck with that. 12th house, new moon is a great opportunity for developing something new in your spiritual life and in your subconscious. All right, so now we've got Cancer. Cancer is having this new moon in the 11th house. 11th house has to do with your larger community of like-minded people. So it's also the benefits that come from your public persona. The benefits that come from your public persona. It's like, here's an example. Somebody knows that I'm a healing artist, and so she knew somebody who needed body work, and needed some healing, and she recommended me. Well, the recommendation was so amazing because the person loved the session so much, and she had like two other people that she's like, oh my god, the astrology and the spiritual body work, the emotional work that you did. So she's like getting me a lot of clients. So the 11th house is the windfall from windfall of benefits that come from your public persona, from your reputation, which is 10th house things. So for Cancer rising, this new moon is likely to bring new possibilities. And you know what I'm just remembering is that the new moon is also in a sextile with Saturn, which is saying that there's a possibility for building something, for making something substantial and sustainable. And so and you can just apply that if you're still listening and you had a Taurus rising or you had a Gemini rising, you can apply Saturn in a sextile is going to add stability. It also says that we need to do some work, that there's some prolonged efforts that we need to put in order to build something sustainable. For Taurus, it would be about pleasure, your health, your wellness, your beauty. For Gemini rising, it's going to be for your subconscious mind, your intellect, the undercurrents of what's working in your mind. And then for Cancer, it's going to be about your, 11th house, your community and how you're showing up in community. And also, what are your goals, dreams, and aspirations? And how are you putting yourself in places with other people who have similar goals, dreams, and aspirations? Saturn wants prolonged effort, something that you are going to be devoted to, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. So this 11th house, new moon, giving new opportunities, but also saying like, show up and do the work. With Saturn, I always think about how since 2020, a lot of people went into like esoteric spiritual jobs. I guess it's cool. You know what I mean? It is cool, but it's like you took maybe even took a year-long astrology course and suddenly you're like, I'm an astrologer. Or you took a 3-month shamanism course. You went to Peru even, and you did the course, and now you call yourself a shaman. Or you did, this is my favorite one, the weekend Reiki workshop, and then suddenly you like are a Reiki master. A 3-month yoga teacher training course, and suddenly you're a yogi. And in India, the yogis actually have dedicated their entire life to the whole system of yoga. And so anyway, Saturn in Pisces is about that. It's like legitimizing things through sustained effort. Okay, so let's get a card. Oh my gosh, lavender again. Okay, so Cancer rising, we can apply a lot of the same things that we talked about for Taurus rising to be the thing, to be that peaceful, harmonious energy in the world. And you don't really have to say much. It is just how you are. And then it's like this essence of the smell of lavender, which is extremely peaceful. It's intoxicating. Actually, in Egypt, they used to use lavender and the blue lotus flowers as an embalming agent. So there's this really beautiful medicine that I make with blue lotus flowers and lavender when I want to get into that like Egyptian teachings of the dead. That's very much what I like to do in Scorpio season. So again, yeah, you can really feel the Scorpio vibe here with that spider web and the angels. There's one here pouring energy in, and there's one here playing music. So get really into the peacefulness of yourself, what you know, what you've learned from your ancestors. Pay attention to your fertility and your ability to nurture life, that baby on the back there. And just really walk through the world in your peace. And I would recommend smelling lavender, connecting with the plant lavender. Okay, have fun with that. And let's look at Leo, which is going to be having this new moon in the 10th house. 10th house being your reputation, public persona, the contribution to the world that you are making. Having a new moon here in the sign of Taurus. So new things. And you've been going through a lot of changes here in your career since 2018 with Uranus entering that sign. 2018, 2019. So we had a dip. Uranus dipped into Taurus in 2018, and then 2019 stayed there. So maybe you made a big move. Maybe you left the country, because the 10th house is also foreign. It's like 10th house, that's your career. Sorry. Taurus likes to be stable, but with that Uranus there, that's what it is. With Uranus there, in the there has been something huge, a big, huge change that is impacting your career. So the new moon is bringing new opportunity, and it does not bring stability because of that connection. It's pretty close. The new moon is pretty close to Uranus. So we can even say it's adding in Uranian energy to the new moon. Taurus likes to be stable. Uranus is complete instability and chaos, which is meant to shake everything up so that we can really be the most true version of ourselves. So Uranian energy is very disruptive to the status quo because it wants better. It wants something better. It wants to innovate upon the tradition. So in what ways are you, for this new moon, going to be innovating in your reputation, how you look, how people see you? Oh, this is not the card I was expecting to see, but we got Yarrow. Yarrow, you can see Venus there. So I guess, yeah, Venus. There's all the flowers of Yarrow. You can see, what is this bird doing? And the scales of justice there. So it's kind of like, what I see with this is the scales of justice is very Libra. And because this is a Venus card, Venus has a rulership over Libra and Taurus. And it looks very much like this bird is like checking up on something. Like, what are you doing? It's looking at it, got its neck all cranked. And what that is kind of showing to me is something about cranking your, it's out of balance and looking for medicine. Actually, it looks like it's looking for the medicine. And with this balance here, it's like we need to find balance. We need to come back into balance. I have used Yarrow for water balancing. It also for dreams. So there's something associated with your psychic abilities, your connection to your intuition and your dreams. And so to balance the emotions, balancing the waters, definitely connect with the plant Yarrow. And this is about harmony. So let me see what the book says about this one. Okay. Equilibrium, balance, discernment, nourished psychic field, divinatory empathy, sensitivity. And they're also connecting this to Achilles, who was said to give yarrow to his soldiers to heal wounds and stop the bleeding. Yeah, that's one of the things that yarrow is used for, is for stopping bleeding. So you can apply those principles to your 10th house of career and let me know how it goes. And that's for Leo rising. Now we're going to move on to Virgo, who's having this new moon in the 9th house, which I love this because Jupiter's there and the sun is going to be making a conjunction with Jupiter. I think it's May 18th, but I don't remember the exact date, but I know it's after the 15th. So this 9th house is most like Jupiter. That's why I love this for you, Virgo rising, is because this is where you are naturally most inclined to do your studies of spirituality, of philosophy, getting deeper into even legal matters, getting deeper into everything that has to do with Jupiterian things. Ninth house is your connection to what you believe in. So like this really gets us thinking, Virgo rising people, gets you thinking about, what do I believe and how are my beliefs either creating more pleasure and luxury and comfort, connection with the earth, or are they not? Are they out of alignment with being earthy as they should, having Taurus as your 9th house? I love me some lemon balm. I love lemon balm. I could smell it now. Look at how beautiful. We've got this like halo over this angel with a bee. And in Tantra Yoga, this bee above the halo is actually there's a whole practice that we do with this exact imagery. I'm going to have to look at what she's saying on the book about that. Lemon balm is so good for digestion, which is something that Virgo always needs to be thinking about, because Virgo rules the intestines. Oh, there's a lot of bees around here. And lemon balm is something that it's relaxing. It's like a nervous system relaxation medicine. And so but it also increases blood flow to the intestines, which is why it's helpful for digestion. And it's also relaxing to the mind, like helps to clear brain fog. And so you can see this clarity happening, that bee sound. So in Tantra Yoga, what we do is stick the tip of our tongue onto the roof of the mouth. And so when we're doing the Uchara practice, raising the vibration of Om up, we'll stimulate the tip of the roof of the mouth with the tip of the tongue and make the sound of a buzzing bee. So there's something about clarification here, clarifying your beliefs, definitely clarifying your thoughts, and physically your intestines, your gut, the microbiome. If you are not in my free 7-day course, the Discipline of Self-Love, definitely join, because this is going to be really good for you, just for Taurus in your 9th house in general. I'm just searching through. I don't know why I can't find. It's just number 52. Mother Earth, access to the ways of Earth, planetary guardian. This is so Virgo, isn't it? Virgo and Taurus. Balance of feelings and emotions. So there is this component of balancing between the brain and the gut that I love with lemon balm. It's actually a main ingredient in this tea I have called Good Mood Tea, which is lemon balm, yerba mate, and St. John's wort. The best tea for stimulating. It's like getting some energy going, clarity in the mind, clarity in the gut, and it sounds so Taurus. Oh wow, listen to this. Melissa is, Melissa officialis is the name of the lemon balm, is derived from the Greek word melissa, which means honeybee. And it was planted by beekeepers at the temple of Artemis to keep the sacred honeybees happy. It was believed that planting lemon balm near beehives would attract honeybees and prevent them from abandoning the hive. Lemon balm stops bleeding. Lemon balm has been used for relaxing effect on the central nervous system. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, chill out. Definitely connect with this plant also. Okay, so now we have Libra, who's having this new moon in their 8th house. 8th house has to do with, the first word that comes to mind when anybody says 8th house, I think about death. I think about your inheritance, things that you inherit from the loss of life. Taurus, 2nd house, is about security, the luxury of pleasures and food, money, whatever you consider to help you stay secure in life. And then the 8th house is going to be the inheritance of things that we acquire from the loss of life. And it's also things that we acquire from our ancestors. So it's not just money and physical things like land and property, although it is those things. It's also your characteristics that you have that are just like your grandma, or physical features that you have that you inherited from genetic connections, ideas and concepts that you inherited from your neighbor who you lived next to as a kid for 20 years, who's not a blood ancestor, but they're an ancestor by way of being in connection with your life. 8th house is also investments. So this is where we can, with a new moon and having Taurus here, we can receive big chunks of money from it as an inheritance, or have payouts from an investment, or maybe we're changing an investment, starting a new investment, something like that. So, ooh, pretty. Oh, wow. We got comfrey. I use comfrey for, it's also known as bone set or bond set. So I use this for wound healing. I really love the way that they put this like matrixy. This really looks like what happens in wound healing. It's like laying matrix on top of each other. It's really beautiful. You know what is that? I'm gonna have to look at the card for this too. The crystal that's like been woven into this thread, and then we can see that this is a Saturn card. So building, structure, and form. And oh, it says completion. We've also got those 4 directions up there, which is very Saturnian. And this is happening in your 8th house. So, oh, they do have the bones there too. Okay, so this is a bone healing remedy. The crystal quartz being fit, there's like this matrixy type of thing. So it's like resetting your structure, resetting your bones even. What else is bone set for? I'm gonna look that up right now, but I'm just looking at the sea goat, which they're telling us something about Saturn with this card, with that sea goat. Okay, so completion, achievement, completion of a cycle, success, closure, completion of a long journey, wholeness, and mending. Comfrey, also known as bone set or knit bone, so that's what we got, this knit kind of thing around here, has been cultivated for healing properties since 400 BCE. To grow together. So there's something ending in your life, definitely, that is allowing there to be some new things woven together, and look for the beauty. I would even definitely connect with bone set. Yes, I do have a healing ointment with bone set in it. It's for healing bones. It's called tobacco healing ointment. It's got tobacco in it too. Connect with bone set physically, or you could find, oh, it's comfrey. You can find comfrey. It's all over. It's like it grows everywhere. Yeah, so let's move on. Let's see, Libra. Okay, now we're going to Scorpio, which is the 7th house. It's right across from Taurus. And so having a new moon in your 7th house, this might not relate to you. It might be something going on with your partnership. You may be ending a cycle with partnerships and starting something new. I always, when I see a new moon in the 7th house, I'm always thinking about like, oh, are you going to meet somebody? Or is there going to be a new thing that that comes up with how you work with relationships? A new thing coming up means that it could be a new paradigm. Like when I first learned nonviolent communication, I was like, oh my God, this is so amazing. And it changed my relationships drastically because of having something new to work with as a tool. And so this, I love Pau de Arco. This is a bark that you just boil it down. It's often used before we do plant diets. So the dieta you might have heard of, when people go and they are going to work with a specific plant for an extended period of time. Before you do that, you'll drink a bunch of this bark. It's very cleansing. You can see there's a transformation process happening here. The old is there. Look at how beautiful these flowers are. And it's a Moon Pluto card, which it's very Scorpio anyway. And it tells us that there is something shedding. There is something that is ending, but also how that ending brings new life. And she's holding a mask. So I feel like something really is changing in how you relate with people and how you are showing yourself. So there can be like breaking down some ego identities. She's carrying the masks around her. It's like Kali having all those skulls, which is like killing off parts of ego identity structures that we have built up and that we're holding on to. It's kind of like giving that away. So this is beneficial metamorphosis happening in relationship. Okay, that's Scorpio. Let's go on to Sagittarius, having a new moon in the 6th house. 6th house has to do with daily mundane tasks that you do to take care of your health, to take care of your pets, to definitely using that card, to make sure that your digestion is working well. That is 6th house things. And so we get the card horsetail. And what's the sign? We've got Venus and Saturn. So I really love how many Saturns and Venuses are coming up today in these cards, because like I mentioned, and I haven't been consistently telling everybody about that Saturn sextile, but Saturn being sextile to this new moon is bringing in this stability of like, let's make this a new thing. Let's make this something that has staying power. Be committed to the slow growth. You definitely, please join my class, The Discipline of Self-Love. It's free, and it's like over 3 hours of content that is broken up over 7 days in a drip, so you don't get overwhelmed by it. And it's just things to do every single day that will help you be the best version of yourself. And so with the 6th house, definitely there is something new starting for you in how you are taking care of your daily mundane tasks. Horsetail is a collagen producing natural plant that it's full of silica. And what do I have horsetail in? I have, oh, my hair oil. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so it's actually a horsetail and rosemary and a bunch of other things. But it helps to build you up. It is a strengthener, and it really does connect you with your ancestors. You can see the Saturn connection there, which is connecting us to our lineage. You could see this beautiful, is that a unicorn? It's a regular horse by a river surrounded by horsetail. And you can see there's something with the pineal gland because they put a pine cone up there. There's something here. I usually will not think about intuition so much with Saturn and the things that are more earthy because I forget. But the earth intuition is some of the strongest because it's so embodied, and it's like stating the obvious. I mentioned that earlier in this video. Whereas so many of, when we say intuition, we're thinking about like some mystical experience that's like mist like water. And there's an earth intuition that is so grounded in the body, and it's so substantial. Okay, endurance, steady focus, period of gestation, trust the process, heightened sensitivity. So yeah, with that pine cone, that must be the senses, the part with the sensitivity. So let's just read the guidance. Horsetail teaches us the power that lies within patience and the endurance gained through the hidden blessings of challenges. There is something good in seeming failures, and although that might not be clear in the moment, time will reveal it. Trust the process. Remember that stubbornness is counterproductive. Instead, be like this meditative horse, ground into Earth's energy as you survive and adapt to changes and hardships on the journey. Horse medicine provides us heightened sensitivity and the purity of trust as essential tools to have while you endure challenges and hardships. So like with everybody, a new moon is a time of letting go of something. So that can always bring up some grief, and you're definitely going through that, and it's going to be impacting your health. So please take care of your health, pay attention to the fine details, and enjoy. Happy new moon. Okay, so from there, we are going on to Capricorn, who's having a new moon in the 5th house of creativity, flirtation, how you take care of your inner child, and how you express with your inner child energy. Oh, also 5th house has to do with actual children that you may have parented. And it's also your inner child. So it's our connection to that childlike wonder and amusement, and how we creatively express our inner child. And so there's a new moon happening there, which can say that there's something new being born, which also means there's something that is having to die. There is something that is having to end in how you have expressed yourself so that something else new can come. So we have this Uranus Jupiter card, which is ginseng, the magician. I have not worked with ginseng so much just because it is so expensive. I mean, just to get a few little roots of ginseng, it's like, we're talking like in the hundreds. So I haven't personally worked with this card so much. I mean, with the medicine, I don't really know much. I do know one thing, and we can just, it is a Uranus and Jupiter card. So it's already telling us that there is something with this Uranus-Jupiter conjunction in Taurus happening in your 5th house that is asking you to really step out on the leading edge of creativity and innovation, to become something that has never been seen before by anybody. So if you're doing any kind of creative projects, to really take a leap off the edge into some unknown territory that is going to really help expand and evolve culture, because artists express what's happening in the culture. I like to say artists create the culture, because they're the ones who are putting voice or colors to the unspeakable things that are happening. Okay, so we have with this card, master Ooh, manifester, master manifester, boundless energy, potential, resourcefulness, expansion. Ginseng provides longevity and creative energy within the person. The root is, oh, you know what this root, yeah, it looks like a body in a way, like a human's body. Let's look at the guidance. Oh. Ginseng, like the magician in the tarot, embodies the wizardry and brilliance. Wizardry. You are a masterful manifester, and now is the time to sow the seeds of your dreams to bring your intentions to fruition. And with that sextile from Saturn, it is definitely time to bring your dreams into fruition. That's Capricorn. Let me just make sure I check in on all my Capricorn rising friends. My daughter has this, so she's been doing some amazing art. Like, she's really tapping into this level with Jupiter and Uranus. You got to check out my daughter. She's Jasmine Draws at Instagram. I can't remember her TikTok because I'm not on TikTok, but her name is Jasmine Monet, and check her out. Her art is phenomenal. She's self-taught. She's amazing. Okay, so that was my Cap risings. Now we're going to Aquarius risings. Aquarius rising. You're having this happening in the 4th house, which is the most hidden of the houses. It relates to your womb. It relates to the wombs you come from. You can say mothers. This is the card that pops out, so we'll work with it. We got horsetail again, which is very, very fitting because horsetail, like I said, does connect us with lineage. And this water here, resembling or giving us the symbology of the connection with the watery womb. And this definitely work with horsetail. I mentioned that I have it in my hair oil. I don't think I have it. Oh, you know what I used to make? I haven't made it in a long time, but this hair growth tea. It's really good as a tea, horsetail. So if you just get some horsetail and steep it and drink it in a tea, it is so good for helping your body to build. It's a building plant. It's a Saturn plant. So what is that? Your 4th house. So new moon. You might be moving whenever there's a new moon. And you know what? New moons don't necessarily say you're moving this today or something like that. But maybe in your mind, you're moving locations. Maybe you're going to take a trip. Maybe you're going to start thinking about over the next 6 months, because a new moon culminates 6 months later when we get into Scorpio season. We have a Scorpio full moon. And so between now and the 6 months, there might be a move coming up or something changing in your home, because the 4th house, while it does deal with your womb and your mother and the wombs that you come from, it also is your sanctuary in your home. All right, so now we've got Pisces. Pisces is having this Pisces rising is having this new moon in the 3rd house, which has to do with your local community. New moon in the 3rd house could also be something changing in your local community. Local community means you might have a different local community, which means you could move, or you could get a job in a different part of town, which gets you to be in a different local community. It's also how you think and communicate. So changes happening there. You may decide you want to, Pisces rising, Taurus, and you may want to start studying something different or taking classes. Studying implies more of a long-term thing, whereas taking classes is more like a short-term thing. So I am going to recommend you take my Discipline of Self-Love course too, because you're having Saturn going through your 1st house, and that's what this course is about. And it's free, so you might as well. You can't lose anything. Wow, I got 2 cards for you. Well, I know about ayahuasca from experience and from studying so much, because I just did a dieta with Bobinsana, but during that Bobinsana study, I did learn some more things about ayahuasca that I didn't learn when I had ceremony with ayahuasca. I learned more intellectual things. So I can speak about that pretty good. This card I'm just going to show you. I've actually never heard of this medicine before. Amanita conductor. It looks like mushrooms. But look at, we've got Neptune, Venus, and Uranus. Now I'm going to have to look that up. Pisces rising, and you're having this in your third house. So it is about communication, and we all know that whatever type of mushrooms these are, those definitely connect us with the mycelium that's holds everything in the universe together, which is very Neptunian and Mercury-like. The conduit, the channel, bridger of realities. Oh my God. Third house, Pisces rising. Connection to higher power, celebration, coming home, family, awakening. This is commonly known as this plant, folk medicine, since at least 6000 BCE. Ritual use connected to the shamanic rites in the Siberia and Central Asia. Your guidance, your channel is open. Earth spirit celebrates you now as you come home. Oh my God. So Taurus new moon in your third house. You feel at one with nature. Oh, I love this. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Hit me up if you want me to read it to you and make a little video and read just that card, because I've never heard it before. Ayahuasca, rebirth. Okay, so this card is very similar. I love that these just fell out of the deck. Like, they literally fell out. This is really good. And this is also a Neptune, Pluto, Jupiter card. Something is really new, birthing in your perception and the way that you are receiving information and processing that information, and really being able to weave it through your life in a way that other people actually get it now. And that is so beautiful, because sometimes we can be like the best conduits of information and channeling so well, but not really able to be understood by the world around us. Well, I think at this time with the Taurus new moon, you are also being understood. Okay, so enjoy. Happy new moon, Pisces rising. Let's go on to Aries, which is happening in your second house of security, pleasure, love, comfort, and you get mama cacao. Oh, I love this. I love this card, and I love this medicine so much. So much. I want to recommend my favorite cacao lady, Jen. She is in our Telegram group, and she does cacao farming on the Big Island. So her Instagram page is Earth Guardian Jen. Go check her out. She really is a beautiful holder of cacao, and I love her. Okay, so this happening in your second house is really saying, like, get into your pleasure. First of all, second house is about security, comfort, pleasure. It is what you need to feel safe in the world. Safety starts from within, and we build this network within ourselves and then extend that safety outward to the world around us. Cacao initiation. Definitely work with cacao. I've been working with cacao since 2020, and it really, really has changed my inner realities. So this is a Uranus card and Venus. So there's definitely a lot that has to do with self-love. All love is self-love. I'm just curious what the card is going to say. This is about a balancing of your feminine and your masculine. Definitely about pleasure and beauty. The cacao pods themselves and the trees are so beautiful, and whether or not you like the bitterness of a real cacao, that bitterness is so beautiful. I've not been using sugar because of my Bobinsana dieta. I finished 1 month, but I'm still doing it for 2 more months. So I haven't had sugar, and I have had some cacao without honey. And I am rather loving that bitterness. I just want to see what the card says for you. Aries rising. initiation, spiritual tests, revelation, access to the cosmic heart, divine love, light beings, channeling languages of light. And there's so much about this with the Mayan culture that is just touches my heart so much. Okay, so this card's guidance says that the Quetzalcoatl, that's the rainbow bird, has flown into your life to symbolize an initiation. The sky gods are speaking and bathing your soul in liquid light as you traverse a series of spiritual tests. Like cacao, Quetzalcoatl are both considered precious heavenly gifts. These divine apparitions are asking you to deeply tune in to the cosmic heart. Let it move you. Open yourself to receive the holy gifts provided and listen carefully to the language pouring through them. You are elevating your frequency. All right, lucky you. I love that. I love that card for you. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining me for this long video going over all 12 signs. If you haven't yet joined my course, The Discipline of Self-Love, you will not be disappointed. It is amazing. There's so much good content. It's pretty much finished now. There's a drip, so you get a little bit at a time. It's not overwhelming. And there's a community in my Telegram group. I'll add links to both of those things down below. Thank you so much. Happy new moon, and I look forward to connecting with you again soon.